Okay, go ahead.
Yes, yeah, proceed.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me on. I unfortunately am stuck in Dallas. My flight got canceled several times, and I just gave up. So I'm in a hotel room, and I will catch the next flight that is not available. So anyway, thanks for having me. Just going to talk a little bit about the about TFI and what we do. TFI is the Fertilizer Institute, where I'm the Vice President of Government Affairs there. But we really advocate for the fertilizer industry, from the manufacturers to the retailers to the whole supply chain, which I'll touch on briefly here. But really, it's about education and awareness and advocacy, both for not only our member companies, but also the general public and members of Congress and the government, to make sure that the fertilizer policies are beneficial to both to the sector and to growers. So as I said, we support the entire supply chain, from plant materials, from mining to transportation to big chemical manufacturing facilities, and then the distribution of it, and then all the way down to the ag retailers, to where some of our certified crop advisors help educate and provide those critical recipes that you guys also create for the growers. So I'm going to talk. I talked last year about this certification program, so I'm going to try not to spend too much time on what this program does and does not do, but spend a bit more time on kind of lessons learned and what we've learned from going through the certification program. So just to back up again, to let you know that we are looking at biostimulants products, including biologicals, plant-based materials, amino acids, humic acids, protein, hydrolysates, and all kinds of stuff is coming across the grower's plate for consideration. So, our ag retailers were screaming, saying, "Look, TFI, you've got to do something to help us narrow down the number of products that are coming across our desk for consideration." They're saying they're getting 200-300 products a year that being requested for shelf space and for further R&D for their community. So we developed this program. It's a voluntary program, and it really is intended. It took us about 5.5 years to put this program together. It is based on a standard that industry developed, that was also developed by that was reviewed by academia, reviewed by government, state regulators, and also adopted by industry, endorsed by industry. So it really is focused on robust policies or robust procedures for conducting efficacy trials. And we do not conform. We do not certify that products actually work, but we do certify that they have gone through a robust scientific testing standard, so that they've met the straight face test. It's not a bunch of pictures showing root growth. It's actually statistically analyzed, good, sound, scientifically derived efficacy trials. We also have a component for looking at safety under environmental and public health safety. We thought that this was going to be the easy one. We found that this, in fact, is becoming more and more difficult, especially with the biologicals, but I'll get into that in a little bit later. And then around composition. So what's in the product is actually in that jug of stuff, is actually in there. It's measurable and it's safe. So the industry benefits of a certification program, I mean, they're far ranging, right? So it really helps manufacturers demonstrate that they've gone above and beyond what is required of them in the regulatory arena, and that they have demonstrated that their products are actually they've gone above and beyond the call of duty. It also helps with the state regulatory review process. Hopefully it will improve efficiencies, and we'll be able to use one product package for all 50 states for that product to be registered in every state. And as I said before, it really helps our ag retailers. That's really why we developed the program, and ultimately provides the retailer and growers with confidence that that these products are actually what they are and work as they say they work. So again, we have found that we needed to do a lot of work on our application, but we have. We've gone through several application packages, and we're learning a lot. But in essence, it's a certified biostimulant application. It's really a checklist of stuff that you have to go through, and then there's these references and attachments that go along with it. So these attachments are what I was referring to. The first one is this biostimulant industry guidelines for efficacy, safety, and composition, which was published in a journal. There is a workbook that we put together for demonstrating efficacy, and that workbook actually we're going to be putting online now, because we had a lot of confusion around how that should look and how it should be completed. A bunch of stuff around product conformance lab testing guidelines to support those product composition claims. Some examples on what safety looks like and a safety conformance write-up would look like, and the activities or the procedures one would go through to demonstrate a safe product, and then some label examples. So we are finding that this is taking a lot of time and resources. But good positive feedback about the program. So again, as I said, this research workbook approach was developed based on the United States biostimulant industry recommendations to assess efficacy, safety, and composition of plant biostimulant products. It's a lot of words, but that took a really long time to hammer out. And so we developed these efficacy components basically on this standard that we put together. But again, we're leaving the judgment and subjectivity of whether or not the product works up to the state regulator. So we're offering a lot of upfront work to get the application package into a form that is easily reviewable by the states, but we're not jumping to that next conclusion and stating using that that subjectivity, leaving that subjectivity up to the state. So we're getting close to having our first company product approved as a certified biostimulant. So when it does get approved, we'll have some of this information on the website. It'll be available for certified crop providers, for the National Independent Crop Advisors. It'll be available to the general public, and it'll be available to the state American Association of Plant Food Control Officials regulators, so that they in fact do know that it did go through this biostimulant certification program, and they can double check to make sure that somebody's not trying to give them some false information. And so all the products names and all of their efficacy workbooks and their safety data sheets and their composition, their product label, well, everything will be on this website and available for folks to review, and it all be in the same format, so that's easily comparable from one product to the next. So it really unifies or standardizes the reporting. I was going to do a demo, but I'm going to skip that in lieu of time. So just about 6 months ago, 5 or 6 months ago, we launched the program. There have been 54, maybe 60 biostimulant companies now that have requested applications. And we have found that as we actually have 6 applications that have been submitted now for consideration, and we've been able to get through 4 of those and provide feedback to the manufacturers about either deficiencies or areas where we need more information, or in some cases areas that needed correction. So It has been a tremendous amount of work. It's been a lot of work on our end. I think we underpriced it because the amount of work that we're actually putting into it. And we've seen that it's a ton of work on the companies, but the companies that are submitting these applications have said, this has been so good for us because we've had data everywhere. We've had, piles and piles of it everywhere, all not organized in a manner that is understandable, and they have actually been complimentary of the process, even though it is very labor intensive, but it has helped them get their marketing material together. And so we did stand up a new TFI task force to oversee, kind of be a sounding board for us, because we found that we actually under-addressed many questions, and that we needed more guidance from the industry to make sure that we were making the best decisions, and it wasn't a staff-driven decision, but it was actually industry. They are regulators, they are academia, they are industry folks, so that we're getting all really good input on how to make the necessary changes to make this a better program. So some of the things that we found it's really interesting. Most, I'd say all the trials to date that we've received have all been based on yield, and their claims are anything but yield. So they're claiming all kinds of abiotic stress, they're claiming nutrient use efficiency, they're claiming abiotic stress, they're claiming a lot of different things that aren't supported by their efficacy trials. So we went to our task force and said, look, that this just doesn't make any sense. They are trying to predict what the modes of actions might be that are lending to those increased crop yields, but they don't have any efficacy data to support those claims. So we have said that on their label, they can only claim that it increases crop yield. They can't claim any other thing unless they provide greenhouse trials or additional data that supports those other modes of actions or outcomes. But they can do in their marketing material, we're saying, if you want to do what you think the predicted modes of actions are, then you can do that, but it's not part of our certification program. It's only what goes on the label. So we found that we really did not have enough guidance on. You can see the wording to the right there in the screen of that. That was basically our recommendation to them about how to determine if you can claim that your product works on all crop types. So we took it to the TFI task force. They agreed that the European standard was probably as good as it gets. They took a lot of time and a lot of effort to try to figure out how to make that determination. And so the minimum of 2 trials from 2 of the crop groupings, from broadacre, woody perennials, or vegetables and ornamentals, and then 1 trial from the remaining 3rd crop would suffice to make that claim that it's effective on all crops. This was a really interesting problem where one of the manufacturers claimed confidential business information, which is allowed, but the active ingredient was also proprietary, and we had no way to measure whether or not that was in the product, and how much of it was in the product, and whether or not there was an isolated control using just that proprietary active ingredient. So we had no way to verify or certify that this was in the jug and what it was, and that the grower was getting what he or she was actually using and paying for. And so and there was no safety assessment, no lab method, and so the task force said, look, this is a grower need to know and retailer need to know item, and so you have to have a safety assessment, and the substance that you're claiming that's doing all the work has to be guaranteed on the label, and ability to be quantified. This is a little one where we were very vague about what microbials pathogens should be tested, and at the end of the day, we decided, look, it's such a small cost and such an easy thing to help prop up the industry and make sure that we're being safe, and our commitment to safe products, that we're just going to require all products, regardless of their type, to be tested for these pathogens. Some other just miscellaneous stuff. We did not have a place in the application for mode of action. It's not in our standard, so we just added a section to say, if known, please provide the mode of action for your product. We added a place for microbial product storage and handling, so that things aren't, in hot warehouses for 30 days, 60 days at a time, that they need to provide some sort of storage and handling requirements in there. And then we found that the instructions were really unclear, and by working with these 5 or 6 companies that have submitted it, we were able to really clarify that just one workbook was needed, and we were able to move to an online portal for an application, which would make it much more reflective and easier to get through. I sped through that pretty good. So the last plug I wanted to let everybody know about was the Agronomy Conference and Expo that has been rebranded through TFI. It really is centered on retail agronomy leaders, such as you guys as independent crop consultants, and it's going to be framed around actually common sense stuff that you can use in the field to take back to the growers and actually put to work with doing your job. So we actually want more retailer agronomy advisors there. So we are giving all of our certified crop advisors and independent crop consultants free access to the conference. So there's no registration fee. If you take a picture of that QR code or get back in touch with me afterwards, we will waive that registration fee for you. So with that, I will take any questions. I don't know if we're taking questions, but there's my contact information if you need to get in touch with me.